Hi, I'm Amber Tipton. I'm the owner and head baker at the Neighborhood Nest Gluten-Free Baked Goods in Fairborn, Ohio. We're a dedicated gluten-free bakery that also accommodates dairy-free, egg-free, nut-free, soy-free, vegan. We have a keto line, so we're very focused on the people who can't just eat the regular food out there every day. So a homeschool mom, I worked outside the home, but I always worked like nights or weekends so I could be home with the kids. So I raised my kids. We were coming to the end of homeschooling. I needed to find something to do with life because I was getting ready to be unemployed. And everyone had always said, you should open a diner, you should open a restaurant. So I was like, I'll go to culinary school. So I was 43. I was working part-time for a counseling office as an admin and started culinary school actually with my youngest daughter. And during my time in culinary school, my middle child, my oldest daughter, was diagnosed with celiac disease and Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And a year later, I was diagnosed with celiac disease, and it was in my last year of culinary school. And having her been diagnosed a year before me, I knew what was out there and I was not eating that way. And so I had one pastry class left, my only pastry class. We had just changed the semester, so I had a long time there. And my pastry chef let me bring about 70 pounds a week of supplies in that were gluten-free flours and alternative leaveners, that kind of thing. At the end of the 16 weeks, if I plated my things like everyone else plated them and slid them on the table without them knowing, they couldn't pick my things out. And so a bakery was born. I was gonna open a diner, but instead I opened a bakery. I think the biggest way our diagnosis personally has impacted the business is, it's the whole reason I started the business. I didn't want her to eat that way, and I did not want to eat that way. But then I really experienced what it was like to go out and eat and try and be safe, because cross-contamination is such an issue for people. It can be anything from just a distended belly and some discomfort to uncontrolled vomiting that can land you in the hospital for a couple of days. After having experienced that, I wanted to give some people some place they could come into and just literally everything was at their fingertips. If they're gluten-free. Now, if they have other allergies, it's hit or miss based on how much we bake of the other things. So it's really to give people back something that they miss. One of my very first customers, it was the first time in 22 years he'd had a strawberry cake for his birthday. And so he was like, I can't say this out loud, but I think it might be better than my grandma's. That is literally why we do this. It's why I do it, because I don't yet take a paycheck so that I can pay a good wage to people and we can not worry about staying open. And so my paychecks are when someone walks in and are like, oh my gosh, I haven't had in so long, and yours was like better than I remember. So my goal for a bakery is not to be the best gluten-free bakery in Dayton, it's just to be the best bakery in Dayton. I thought I would be lots of other things. I thought I would be a counselor. At one point I wanted to be a mortician. I wanted to be a race car driver, lots of things. This was not one of them, but as I took jobs that put me in situations to cook for people, or as I continued to have children and we entertained and had birthday parties, and then friends would ask me to help plan birthday parties, or you have huge church pitch-ins or family get-togethers and everybody wanted the recipes, or will you please bring that dish, things like that, that it started to form. I always said, once I started having kids and doing that stuff, I said, oh, well, if I opened a place, I would call it Ugly Edibles, because I'm not fancy. That was the original, I'll just open a bakery or a diner that's called Ugly Edibles or something like that, and it was always a joke. But then when I needed something to do, I didn't see why not. So for other women or moms out there, or single women who are older and just ready to do something different with their life, I would say, don't limit yourself. There's no rules to life. We've been told there's a lot of rules to life, but there's really not. And you don't have to know everything to start, just start. Have a plan and a goal, and I think you have to be a little tenacious. I would say just do it. I mean, I know Nike says that all the time, but I don't know enough to be afraid of what I take on usually, and so I just do it. I'm Amber Tipton, and I'm an entrepreneur.